Alright, what is up, everybody? So, please, someone just stop me. I am addicted to Decoy. It's a real problem. So, someone actually in one of my videos, so I was thinking about this already, like what other frames could we put Decoy on? And somebody had an interesting comment that made me, want to try this build even more. So I just want to present my finest creation. So over here we have my friend the Shock Eximus. Um, and well, basically just decimating Steel Path. So that's been very fun to watch. So now the decoy debuff. Okay, let me kill this guy really quick because he was targeting me. So the decoy debuff has fallen off. So I want to recast it, recast mind control, hit him to stack up the mind control damage buff, and let him go back to work. And so as you can see, like I do have a hound out. So my hound has viral, heat, and radiation on his weapon. So that's what's going to get applied through the synergized prospectus. But as you can see, there's much more than just that, on these enemies. Oh, it's torment. Or violence. I was like, why can't I use Okay, come on, buddy. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. A little distraction right there. Anyways, so oh no, did my friend die? Oh wait, there he is. There he is. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna juice him up and let him go to town. So you can kind of support him. Throw out your two strip armor. It will basically cause things to explode from the dots. Um, Yeah, so I guess Decoy is pretty insane on Nyx. Um, it's pretty wild. Now so there's a couple cool things about using Decoy on Nyx. So one, you get to, juice that target up a little more so you can mind control the decoy target. Um, Two is your mind control target will follow you. So one thing that's kind of annoying with Decoy is once you use it, you kind of have to stay in that area or recast it. Your mind control target just follows you around. So you see how this dude teleported up here, and now I'm going to go down here. Um, so he should, yep, now he's down here. So he will follow you around. So that is like really, really, really useful. So I'll do some armor stripping down here, whatever. So I'm doing nothing. I've literally done nothing this whole mission, right? I'm just watching this guy. So now this is predicated on finding. So I am kind of abusing the fact that this guy is a shock Eximus. So I think that the shock Eximus is like top tier for stealing enemies, at least for this strategy, because they are doing like AoE damage. But basically, like any Eximus unit that has a damaging thing, like Toxin or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Any of like the damaging Eximus units are going to just like, holy Jesus, did you see how many status effects were on those enemies? My God. Um, so yeah, so I think shock is the best. The cool thing is when you recast decoy on them, it basically like heals them. So they can just kind of you you can pretty much, if you find like a really good Eximus unit that you like a lot, you can pretty much keep them alive like basically forever. Your whatchamacallit, um, your decoy basically heals them. So yeah, you kind of find a buddy. You find your shock Eximus buddy, and of course my hound is also doing work here as well. But yeah, this is just literally hilarious. Like I yeah, it's it's pretty interesting. Um, so yeah, there's that. It looks like decoy can be made even better, so I'll just show it one more time. So you want to do decoy first and then mind control. Shoot them to stack up the mind control buff. And then, there you go. Now, my weapon, like, I haven't killed anything, so, like, my weapon is not stacked up. So, like, my weapon is not doing much damage right now. My galvanized mods aren't, like, working or whatever. or aren't active. So, and as you can see, like, yeah, I'm not not at 100% life support, but considering I'm just letting my, buddy here and my hound do all the work, it's pretty solid. If you really get into trouble, okay, so I got a heat proc. I mean, that's no bueno. So if you really get into trouble, you can use your, chaos to cause enemies to not attack you anymore. So let me just shoot him again. So yeah, pretty fun, pretty fun. I, obviously this isn't going to be like the best build, but it's really funny. So let me just hop out of here and I'll show you the build in the simulacrum. Trying to keep this one a little short. So I haven't, I for a little while there, I wasn't showing as much Steel Path gameplay, so I'm going to try to be focusing on including that in my videos a little more in the future. But anyways, for the build, weapons don't really matter. Honestly, I probably should have been using Unairu here because I wasn't using Prime Surefooted. So just to show the Hound build again, this is what I pretty much always use this pet now. So you have Synergized Prospectus, Manifold. This applies status effects. It applies electricity. This Manifold Bond makes your companion abilities apply status effects from their weapons, and killing enemies with status effects reduces their ability cooldowns. And then Contagious Bond makes it so their status effects spread. Synth Deconstruct for health orb drops. Momentous Bond to get them more damage and also for the respawn. Null Audit, Stripping Overguard, Stealing Eximus abilities. Reinforced Bond for the fire rate. So on the Hounds, if you put Calculated Redirection, it basically guarantees you have the fire rate all the time. Um, on top of that, so the other, which one is it? Denial. I've been messing around. So like reflex denial is really good. It basically lets them have like a 90% damage shield all the time. The problem I had with this ability is like it kind of just gets annoying for me. Like yeah, they stay alive, but I find it pretty annoying. So that's why I switched to evasive denial. Now I do have the wrong polarity here because when I play Anaros, I switch in Link Vitality. So that's the only thing I change. Weapon, I just have viral, heat, and radiation, and also impact and slash. Technically, I think one of these is impact and puncture, or I think you probably want puncture and slash is like the ideal, but it doesn't really matter. As far as Nyx goes, so brief respite, shield regen, preparation, primed flow. I mean, this is pretty standard. A little bit of duration, primed redirection for the extra shield gate. You could also run rolling guard. I think that's also a totally fine option, or maybe even catalyzing shields. I'll leave that up to you. I would say, so I'm going to drop that out of here for now. So I put Decoy over Nyx's 4. And the reason I did that was that so I could run Precision Intensify. So I wanted to amp up the damage reflection as much as possible. You could also run, I mean, you could probably run Blind Rage if you wanted to and also get more or more strength for like mind control, but like that's really only if you're running the augment, which isn't necessarily like required. Um, so yeah, so there's that. So then damage decoy, obviously this is kind of like the crux of the build, right? So you cast decoy on enemies, they get status effects, blah blah blah. Some range in case I want to use chaos. Also for sucking in stats from enemies. So this like with a good amount of extra strength on this. So once mold augmented is stacked up, so I do have 3 red shards on here because like that lets you full strip with psychic bolts. So that's for like my normal Nyx builds that don't use extra strength. But with the 60% from molt augmented and the 90% from precision intensify, so you're looking at 190, 280% strength on decoy, which is pretty good. So that lets you get a pretty solid amount of extra health and shield. And so, like, I mean, you just saw when I was in Steel Path, like, as soon as I cast Decoy again on my mind control target, they basically, like, they stole so much health from their allies that they basically healed the full. So Psychic Bolts for Armor Strip, use the combo of, like, Decoy and Mind Control. Chaos is kind of for emergencies. You don't really want to use Chaos because Chaos will, whatchamacallit, Chaos will distract enemies from attacking your decoy target. So it's good in a pinch, but you don't want to use it all the time. So that's why I probably wouldn't use Chaos Sphere on this build. So I was using Mind Freak, but honestly, you could use like any number of. The other thing that I would consider putting here is like fast deflection. So I think there's like a couple options. So for survivability, you could run Arcane Aegis here instead of augmented if you don't want the extra strength. You could also run catalyzing shields instead of primed redirection, in which case you probably don't want fast deflection. So I think there's some options. I mean, Nyx, she has a evasion passive, and then when you chaos, you're basically chaos is kind of nice because while it doesn't affect units with overguard, so it won't affect Eximus units, the Eximus units will still attack other enemies that are affected by it that don't have overguard. So Chaos is like it's one of the more reliable CCs even versus overguard targets. So yeah, that's kind of the build. It's really stupid. Like it's just kind of dumb, right? It's always really funny when just super memey builds can be. And let me actually just super fast because I want to give credit where credit is due. I want to look up. Let me see here. Okay, so JD dash VQ5RF. He was one of the people who commented and recommended using Nyx. So very, very cool, really fun. I think he put Decoy on Nyx's 3 and he would sit invulnerable in her 4 and kind of let the decoy do the work. I played um, Assimilate Nyx for a really long time. So I'm really like burned out on that build. So yeah, I used to run the Amar set to like teleport around while you're, invulnerable. So that is a very cool build. I think it definitely works for this. So that's certainly another option. I think you really want to keep Psychic Bolts because, the armor strip just helps helps kill everything. And yeah, so very fun. Nyx is I think a pretty underappreciated frame. Like she has really good CC and armor strip, and the fact that you can kind of do stuff with mind control when combined with decoy is really cool. So hopefully you guys try it out. Hopefully you have fun, and I really appreciated the comment that kind of inspired me to actually try this out. So thanks very much, and thanks for watching. See you around.